As usual, Harvey sat in his recliner, beer in hand, watching a baseball game on the big screen TV. Betsy went upstairs after dinner. He had no idea what she was doing. He didn't care. As far as he knew, it was just another night at home. However, shortly before 7 as the doorbell rang. Before Harvey could get up, Betsy shouted from above, "Harvey, could you open it, please?" "Certainly. I was going to do it anyway." He walked to the door and opened it to see a well-dressed man who was unfamiliar to him. "Yes. Can I help you? I hope you're not selling anything." "No. I'm here to pick up Betsy." "For what?" "We have a date." Harvey's eyes bulged. "Are you and my wife Betsy on a date?" "Yes." Harvey stood there for a moment, trying to figure out what to do. "I'll call her." He went to the foot of the stairs and shouted up, "Betsy, your cavaltor is here." He expected her to ask, "What date?" or, "This isn't really a date." Instead, she said, "Tell him I'll be right there." Harvey just stood there wondering what was going on. When she entered the living room, she was wearing a short evening dress that showed off a lot of cleavage and had a lot of makeup on her face. Harvey asked, "Betsy, tell me, what the hell is going on?" "I'm going on a date." "Married women do not go on dates with anyone other than their husband." "I'm going. I'm tired of spending my evenings watching you drink beer and watch curling or some other exciting sport. The most I want from you is a burp or a fart. And you don't even apologize anymore when you do it. When was the last time we did something exciting? If you can't give me any attention or the occasional chance to have fun, I'll find someone who can." She poked her index finger into his chest for emphasis. "Now don't wait for me. If I'm lucky, I might not be back until morning." She left, slamming the door behind her. Betsy sat down in waiting her car and told the driver to move. Once he was away from home, he stopped, and they both started laughing. Betsy said, "I wish I had a photograph of his facial expression. It was priceless. If that doesn't make him go from being a sloth to being a normal person, I don't know what will. Don't you think this might make him angry and make the situation worse?" "I doubt it. He'll probably just sit there and wonder what happened. I'll be back before he gets too upset. I don't think he would consider divorce that quickly, but I'm willing to take the risk. I probably shouldn't have added that part about not being home until tomorrow. Well, it's too late now. Given the way our marriage is going, I think I would rather get a divorce than continue like this. Damn him. I love this idiot to death, but I just wish he would care more about me and us. Well, go around the block. Let's come back and I'll see how he's doing." After driving around the area, Betsy and her beau pulled into the driveway and parked. Harvey didn't run outside like Betsy had hoped. She walked in and didn't see him in the living room, even though the TV was on. She quickly looked around the ground floor and went upstairs. He's gone. She then called him on his mobile phone. She heard the bell. Betsy ran up and saw his cell phone on the nightstand. His wedding ring lay nearby. She quickly looked around the room. Several of his personal belongings were missing. Oh, shit! Betsy ran downstairs to tell her friend what had happened and to check if Harvey's car was in the garage. She disappeared. The man asked, "Where do you think he is?" "He probably went to the bar to get drunk. In the worst-case scenario, he might even spend the night in a motel. I imagine him sulking like a little child. He'll pay for it when he comes back and forgets my joke. On the other hand, his departure may be for the best after all. If he feels bad because he made me go to such lengths to motivate him, I don't mind letting him continue to feel bad a little longer." Harvey did not return or call that night or the next morning. Later the next day, when Betsy couldn't take it anymore, she called Harvey's personal secretary long before he was due back from lunch. "Barbara, please connect me with my husband. Nothing will work out." "Betsy, what the hell is going on? Harvey comes staggering in this morning and tells me to shut up and listen. He tells me that he is taking the day off because he has a lot of personal things to take care of. He then asks me who handles our company's health insurance. I told him the name of the girl from HR who deals with health insurance. This helped him. He didn't want to talk to me anymore. He left without saying a word of gratitude or anything. This doesn't sound like Harvey at all. Do you know what happened to him? Did any close relative die or something? I am what happened to him. I pulled a trick that backfired. Once I talk to him and kiss his ass, I hope he gets back to normal. Now, could you transfer me to that girl from HR? Certainly. Human Resources, Rhonda. I would like to talk to Sylvia, please. She is currently undergoing orientation with a new employee. Can anyone else help you? Can anyone tell me what Harvey Strickland did in your HR department today? I can look through his file, but I need his permission to give you any information. I am his wife. Can you tell me anything? I can look at your coverage according to his policy. Wait, let me see. It's a coincidence. We should have contacted you today anyway. You should receive official notice in the mail that you are no longer covered by your husband's health insurance. You can keep your coverage for 180 days before it expires if you pay off the debt. That's the only thing he changed. Stunned, Betsy simply sobbed, "Thank you," and hung up. Why did Harvey take me off his health insurance? And then it dawned on her. She immediately went to her computer to check their online bank accounts. Half the money was withdrawn from my checking and savings accounts. Oh shit. He is in the process of divorcing me. Betsy couldn't decide what to do next. She thought for a moment before her phone rang. It was their life insurance agent and family friend, Larry. "This is Betsy. Hello, Larry." "Betsy, can you tell me what the hell is going on?" "Harvey came here, canceled the automatic payout on your life insurance, and changed the life insurance beneficiary to the girls. No money should go to you. In addition, automatic withdrawals for life insurance payments were transferred to the new account. He said he was sure that's how he wanted it to be. I will have to send you a formal notice of the change of beneficiary and the termination of your life insurance benefits. I'm sorry. I'm guessing you guys must be growing apart. Betsy, I'm sorry about this. Please come see me as soon as possible so your life insurance doesn't expire. Am I right about you two getting a divorce? Yes, thank you. I can't tell you anything more now. But you really didn't tell me anything. Yes. She hung up. 2 minutes later, their lawyer, neighbor, and friend, Doug, called. Betsy replied stupidly. Hello? Betsy, this is Doug. Can you tell me what the hell is going on? Harvey came here and changed his will so that the children get everything from him and you get nothing. He also removed you from the list of people who could become his medical assistant. He refused to tell me why and said he didn't care whether I told you or not. He then asked me for a referral to a family lawyer. I'm guessing that you two have had some serious problems and are considering divorce. Look, I can always change things if you guys get back together. I'm really sorry this is happening. Marilyn and I think very highly of you both. I have to run now, but I wish you both the best, Betsy answered weakly. Okay. The next call was from their twin daughters, who were in college together. Mother, what the hell is going on? Dad called us all devoted to you. He said that you date and have sex with other men. He then told us that he was going to stay away for a while so that he could have the freedom to date other people before the divorce. He said he took care of our future college expenses. We tried to ask questions, but he ignored us. He told us to remember that he loved us and hung up. Mom, we are afraid that Dad will hurt himself. Can you tell us what happened to make him so depressed? I'm the idiot who made him depressed, and I'm trying to find him so I can apologize. The problem is that I can't find it. Maybe I can try. Hey, I got another call. Maybe it's him. Call us back. Hello, Harvey? No. This is your mother-in-law, Doris. What the hell is going on? My son called me crying like a baby. He said something about you sleeping with a group of men in some nightclub. He seemed drunk, so I wasn't sure how true his story was. All I know is that he was very depressed. Anyway, he said he was going to solve the problem by giving you your freedom. The worst part is that he thanked me and his father for raising him right. He then apologized for betraying his upbringing by letting us down. He said goodbye. I didn't like his tone. He hung up before we could ask any more questions. He didn't answer the phone when we called him back. Betsy, I'm afraid he might do something stupid. What happened between you two? I tried to get Harvey to get out of his empty nest rut and enjoy life with his wife. I decided to do something crazy to get him out of his depression. I pretended I was going on a date with another man. I wasn't home for 10 minutes. 10 lousy minutes. When I returned, he was no longer there. Today, I found out that he has done some things that look like he is going to divorce me. I'm trying to find him to stop this madness, but I can't reach him to talk to him. So, it's your fault that my son is planning to kill himself. Let me say something. If he dies, I will hold you personally responsible. Click. Betsy couldn't think clearly. She called all the local hotels and motels. Harvey was not listed as a client in any of them. Betsy called the police and tried to file a missing persons report, telling them she was afraid he was going to commit suicide. This information had no meaning. She would have to wait one more day before reporting it. Betsy took sleeping pills to help her sleep, although the thought of suicide if Harvey died crossed her mind. Luckily, she knew the code to the safe where Harvey kept his automatic pistol and ammunition. She woke up sleepy and turned on the news on TV. A local news channel broadcast a live interview from the scene of the accident. This is Lamar Jackson from TV3 News. It appears that Bender's Curve claimed another victim or victims last night. We're here with Sergeant Cantor, State Police. Sergeant Cantor, can you tell us exactly what happened? It looks like the car drove off a cliff. You can see that he has passed the strongest part of the reinforced barriers. The driver was either unlucky or he knew what he was doing. What is known at the moment? Given the lack of signs of braking, it appears that the driver may have lost consciousness, been under the influence of alcohol or drugs, or may have committed suicide. How did you even know there was an accident? The police were called by a driver driving in the opposite direction. He's here now. The camera switched to the young man. The reporter approached him. Young man, what is your name? I'm Sean Carpenter. Am I on TV? I just want to say hello to my mom. Hello, Mom. He smiled from ear to ear. Sean, tell us what you saw. Well, I was driving home when I saw this big truck heading my way. He swerved a little and then moved into my lane. I slammed on the brakes, and he suddenly swerved to the right very quickly, hit the guardrail, and went off the cliff. Can you describe the truck? Certainly. It was a red Ford F-150, probably a 19. It had a Western Kentucky Mountain Man sticker on the rear window. Did you see who was driving? No, the truck's headlights were on, and I only caught a glimpse of the man behind the wheel. He looked like a man. I don't think there were any passengers there. That's all I know. Thank you. Sergeant Cantor, did you call for help to find the truck that crashed into the fence? Well, we don't know for sure what it was that broke through the fence. We assume it was a truck, as Mr. Carpenter reported. From here, it is impossible to see what it is. We have a search and recovery team in the mountains, but they are currently conducting search and rescue efforts in another part of the state. I don't know when they'll be able to go down there and check. But what if someone is still alive down there and needs medical attention? Then you will witness a real miracle. No normal person could survive such a fall on these stones. I would not risk the lives of those who are not qualified to attempt an expedition just to find out. We just need to wait for the mountain rescue team. Bets didn't have to wait to guess what had happened and who was dead. She started crying as soon as they said, Red Ford F-150 with a WKU Hilltopper sticker. She ignored the ringing phone. She was already in her third hour of sobbing alone before the twins appeared. When she didn't answer their call, they became worried and rushed back home to be with her. Their grandmother called and told them the news on TV about the red F-150. Despite the absence of a body, they were almost sure that it was their father who crashed. The older twin answered her mother's phone and handed the phone to her. The identification line included the name of the law firm. Hello, this is Betsy Strickland. She almost couldn't pronounce the last name due to suffocation. Mrs. Strickland, my name is Chris Andrews. I'm an attorney in the same office where your friend Doug works. Your husband hired me to represent him in his divorce proceedings. I probably shouldn't have called you, but Doug talked me into it. I was contacted by Riverton Police from Caldwell County. They were called to the scene of a robbery. The defendant suffered a head injury. His wallet and keys were stolen. He was taken to the emergency room and went into surgery shortly after. The unknown person was put into a coma to relieve pressure on his brain. The only thing he had on him was his motel room key. They traced him to Harvey Strickland. Among the papers in his hotel room is a copy of the divorce agreement that made me responsible for his divorce proceedings. That's why they called me. Your husband ordered me to handle the divorce because he did not want you to have to deal directly with him in any way. I must tell you that you are not allowed to see him in the hospital. I base this decision on the very clear verbal instructions given to me by Mr. Strickland regarding his relationship with you. Your children, however, can visit him, but I have a say in whether visitors are allowed. What? He is my husband. Of course I can see him. I'm very sorry, but the mandate he signed gives me, and only me, the right to make decisions regarding the divorce, as well as regarding his medical care. I must follow his last verbal instructions. If you want to hire a lawyer to fight this, act now. Wasn't the divorce proceedings canceled because of his condition? No, ma'am. I was given clear instructions to pursue the divorce no matter what, although I don't think he foresaw that he would be robbed. Does this mean that all financial insurance and beneficiary actions he has taken will not be reversed? Yes, ma'am. They were all completed by him, and at this point I see no evidence that he wants them to be canceled. Of course, there is no such evidence. He's in a coma. This is ridiculous. I deceived my husband into believing that I was going on a date with another man. When I came back to tell him it was a joke, he had already left. He got rid of his cell phone, so I couldn't tell him it was a joke. There is no reason for the divorce and no reason for the actions he took regarding the joke. I don't mean any disrespect, but that's what you're saying now. I must follow what Mr. Strickland instructed me to do and confirmed in writing. I do not have any other choice. I hate to tell you this, but tomorrow you will be served at work as Mr. Strickland requested. Once you get a lawyer, ask him or her to contact me about how to proceed. I don't care. He's my husband, and I'm going to see him if I want. I forgot to tell you. The envelope you receive contains a restraining order ordering you to stay at least 1,000 feet away from him. The petition he proposed is very generous. He stated that he wants you to have a chance with the man you really want now. Betsy told the children what the lawyer said. It was impossible to believe what happened. Betsy said she would go to the hospital no matter what they said. The girls agreed to accompany her. It didn't take long. The hospital did not have a copy of the restraining order, but was not allowing any visitors due to COVID restrictions for all hospital patients. They said that once he was transferred to the intensive care unit, he would be able to have visitors, but only one person for 10 minutes every 2 hours. Betsy and her daughters returned home unsatisfied. By the time Harvey was admitted to the intensive care unit, the restraining order had already been granted. One daughter could visit him, but what good would that do? He was unconscious, and if he understood anything, they were saying. They couldn't say it. A few days later, the mountain search and rescue team found the truck. It was assumed that the robber was the dead man behind the wheel. Harvey's wallet was there, but several hundred of the $6,000 were missing. This was probably due to the discovery of several bottles of rare Kentucky bourbon. One was more than half empty. As time went by, Betsy found herself in a difficult financial situation. Harvey forgot to deposit his check into the couple's joint account, which paid the mortgage and other bills. Betsy actually hired a lawyer who asked the court to give her access to half the money remaining in the account. Finally, it's time to bring Harvey out of his drug-induced coma and into consciousness. When he woke up, he said he didn't know who he was. The diagnosis was temporary amnesia. Linda, one of the twins, brought photographs and recalled memories to jog his memory. All efforts were in vain. He also did not remember the lawyer who had his power of attorney. In his condition, he was not considered sufficiently knowledgeable to allow the restraining order to be lifted. When Harvey came out of his coma, he was given a memory test to see if he had amnesia. Harvey quickly realized that this was exactly what they were doing and immediately decided to pretend. He was told that his daughters wanted to see him. Carol, the other twin, was the first to see him. He asked her who she was. "Dad, I'm one of your daughters, Carol. You were attacked and fell into a coma. We were waiting for you to wake up. We? Yes, Linda and I and Mom, your wife. I have a wife? Yes. Why isn't she here? She is not allowed to come. You two had a misunderstanding and there is a restraining order against her. Oh my God, does she really want to harm me? No, Dad. She poses no threat to you. You were really angry at her. Because of which? She pretended she was going on a date with another man. Before she came back to tell you it was a joke, you left and started divorce proceedings. Now that you're awake, you can undo all this. How do I know she didn't go on a date? She says she didn't do it. Didn't you just say that she said she was going on a date? Yes, but it was a lie. So she lied about being on a date, but then turns out to be telling the truth about not going on a date. I may not remember you and her, but I'm not a fool. I have to assume I took action to protect myself. Sorry, miss, but your 10 minutes are up. You'll have to leave right now. 2 hours later, his second daughter arrived. I talked to you before, didn't I? No, it was my twin sister, Carol. I'm Linda. Don't you recognize me? I'm sorry, but not yet. You and your sister are very attractive young women. Were we on good terms? I understand that your mother and I were separated. We are on good terms. Your mother played a prank on you, and you were attacked and suffered a head injury before she could tell you it was a joke. You started taking steps towards divorce before you even knew about it. You have to stop this, Dad. I do not know what to do. I don't know if you are my daughter or not. I don't know who my wife is, if I even have a wife. I don't think I should do anything before I get my memory back. If it does, do I have a lawyer? You have 2 of them. One for regular cases and one for divorce attorneys. You gave him permission to divorce. Maybe if I talk to him, it will help me refresh my memory. Can you contact him or her and ask him to come and visit me? Certainly. Anything that can bring back your memory. Dad, can you let Mom visit you? It kills her that she can't see you and apologize. I don't think I would feel safe around her. Maybe later. Mr. Strickland, I'm Chris Andrews, your family law attorney. Do you remember me? Is everything we talk about confidential? Undoubtedly. Fine. I don't have any amnesia. I'm trying to figure out what to do about my divorce. What I remember is that I told you to give her more so that she could move on without me. It's right. She was served and given a lawyer. Do you want to terminate the contract and end the divorce? No and no. Can you investigate her supposed lack of a date and let me know what you find? I can hire someone on your behalf if you allow me to do so. Do it. Harvey continued to pretend that he had amnesia and continued to talk to his daughters, ignoring their pleas to see their mother and stop the divorce. He was waiting for a report from his lawyer. The report arrived a few days later. According to private detectives, there is not enough evidence to prove whether she went on a date or not. The man she was with swears nothing happened, but he is married and may be afraid to tell the truth. It's up to you whether to believe her or not. I was afraid of this. Thanks for the info. I think it's time for me to get my memory back. I want you to continue with the divorce process. Carol was the only one who heard him say her name from memory. Soon after, he told her that memories came flooding back, including the night of Betsy's betrayal or deception, depending on what you believe. He agreed to meet with Betsy. After hugs and tears, Betsy began, "Harvey, it was a trick, a sneaky trick on you to get you to change. Doug and I only drove around the block, but by the time we got back, you were gone. How do I know this is true? I can get Doug to come and tell you. He was the one who helped me pull off this trick. So, I have to take the word of the man you cheated on me with to convince me that you didn't cheat on me. Sorry, but this dog doesn't hunt. I tried to call you, but you left your phone at home. I sat waiting for you all night, but you never came back. Was anyone there while you were waiting? Doug stayed there for a couple of hours and then went home. For some reason, I'm sure that he will vouch for you. I waited for your call until the next day, when I called you at the office. That's when I learned that you took a scorched earth approach to my fake romance. You looked like you couldn't wait to get rid of me. Why not? You told me right to my face that you were going to deceive me. You said you wanted another man who stood in front of me in my house. I was devastated, but because I loved you, I wanted to give you what you wanted as soon as possible. Besides, I no longer wanted to be married to you because you no longer kept our marriage vows. Why prolong the agony? Let's go ahead and get a divorce. I don't want a divorce. I didn't plan to really cheat on you and never did. I wanted to encourage you to fight for me and bring some life back into our marriage. Clearly, I chose the wrong way to do this. I'm sorry. Please, Harvey, stop the divorce and let's get back to our lives. I love you. Even if what you said is true and I still don't believe it, you played a cruel, vile joke on me. I don't know if I want to stay married to a woman who does these things. I am currently continuing the divorce process and will be moving into my own apartment when I leave the hospital. Harvey, this is such a waste of money. You have a home and a bed. I'll move to another room in the house for a while, if that's what it takes to get you back. Visiting time is over, and I want to see my daughters. Betsy was sent out of the ward. The twins tried to support their mother's cause. Neither of them could explain how much time their mother spent with Doug that night, so it didn't matter to Harvey. When it was time for him to check out, he actually moved into an apartment near his work. The divorce continued until it got to the point where Betsy's lawyer demanded mandatory counseling for them. 12 sessions. Harvey offered no resistance. Betsy went first. I love my husband very much. We had a wonderful marriage and raised 2 wonderful girls together. I think empty nest syndrome hit him harder than it did me. I wanted to fill this gap by spending more time with him doing different things, rather than just physically being together in the same house. Harvey seemed to have moved away from our marriage. Our sex life remained the same as when we had to plain sex at Tim's, when the girls were unlikely to hear. Their absence didn't change anything for Harvey. I decided to shake him up so that he would pay more attention to me. I convinced a male friend from work to join me in what I called shock therapy. One evening, I pretended to go on a date with him. My beau and I drove around the block so I could come back and tell Harvey it was a joke to get him angry about our marriage again. When we returned 10 minutes later, he was gone, and I had no chance to talk to him. I waited until the next day when I called his office and found out that he had taken several steps to divorce me. It was a few days later when I found out that Harvey had been robbed and was in a coma. When he came out of his coma, he didn't believe that my fake date was a ruse, and I wasn't actually going out with other men. He has been seeking a divorce ever since. I apologize for my wrong actions and beg him to give me a second chance. Harvey, what's your summary of what happened? She's accurate in some of what she said, but she left out a few details. When her boyfriend showed up, she not only told me she was dating him, despite my objections, she said she hoped to spend the night having sex with him. At that moment, I knew my marriage was dead. I assumed it was my fault that our marriage failed, so I wanted to leave as soon as possible. I left my home and hers so she could have the man she wanted and I could start over too. I took steps to quickly separate us. I gave power of attorney to a lawyer because I didn't even want to think about Betsy anymore, let alone talk to her. I would give her a generous divorce and move on with my life. I didn't know that they were going to rob me, and I certainly didn't expect that I would be in a coma. When I came out of the coma, I didn't remember who I was. Sometimes I wish I had stayed in the coma and regained my memories of that night. Betsy says she didn't actually go on the date, but doesn't provide any evidence. In my opinion, it's just as likely that she actually went on a date and slept with this guy, Doug. I think she only changed her mind when she realized what all this would mean for her socially and financially. Now I'm being asked to believe that it was just a joke, and I have to go back to live with a woman who didn't mind breaking my heart. Even if she is telling the truth, she is a wife who has proven that she is ready to hurt me whenever she sees fit. How can I live with this? Every evening when I come home, I have to worry about what awaits me. A loving wife or a cheater going on a date. It would be cleaner if we divorced. She and Doug can have a life together and I can try to move on. It seems we have something to talk about. Everything was at a standstill until Betsy brought Doug to a session. Harvey, I want to apologize for my participation in the prank. Betsy assured me that everything would be fine. I was very doubtful when she got into my car. I swear we only drove around the block before we got back to the house. She was shocked to hear that you had left. We learned that you abandoned your phone when we found it in your room. I stayed with her, waiting for you to return. Most of the time she complained about what we did and how much you meant to her. After a while, I left. Once again, I apologize. Do you believe me now, Harvey? His words certainly sound sincere, but maybe he's just a good actor. Harvey, there seems to be nothing I can do to prove to you that it was just a joke. Regardless of precedent, I will never make fun of you again. Can't you just trust me? Let's watch. You lied to me that night when you told me you were going to spend the night with Doug. Then you claimed that you didn't do anything. You repeat that you are not lying now. Next, you want me to believe that you will not do anything like that again in the future? How do I know where the lie is and where is the truth? It all comes down to trust, Harvey. If we want to get back together, you'll have to trust me. If you can't do this, I will agree to divorce you. The advisor spoke. I have a suggestion. How about a postnuptial agreement that stipulates that if Betsy does this again, you get all the property in the divorce? Would you be willing to sign this, Betsy? Yes. Harvey, I think I could try. Betsy came over and hugged him. Harvey slowly integrated back into his marriage to Betsy. Quite a long time passed before she and Betsy found themselves in the same bed. Their interaction was very fragile. Over time, they developed a relationship that included more walks, doing household projects together, visiting their daughters, and traveling. Their sex life was more active than before the incident. Betsy began to feel comfortable at home. One day, Harvey called and told Betsy not to cook dinner. It looked like they were planning to go somewhere. He had to hang up quickly, so Betsy didn't know for what reason. She did remember the reorganization going on at his job due to the merger. Betsy assumed that he had received good news about his position after the reorganization. Harvey entered the house and immediately went upstairs. "I'm changing for tonight," was his comment on the way. Soon after, the doorbell rang. Betsy opened it. Standing in front of her was a woman who looked about 10 years younger than them. She was very attractive and dressed professionally. "Yes, can I help you?" "I'm here because of Harvey. We're going to a place tonight." Betsy remembered the incident that she tried to forget. She thought he was finally trying to get revenge. An idea appeared on what to do. She invited the woman to come in. "You have a wonderful house, Mrs. Strickland." "Thank you. Excuse me, I'll just be a minute. I need to tell Harvey you're here." She shouted, "Harvey, your companion is here." His answer was unclear. She assumed he said he would be down now. She returned to the woman. Betsy was about to ask her a question when she heard Harvey coming down the stairs. She took action. Betsy wrapped her hands around the woman's throat and began to lightly choke her. "You bitch who steals husbands." The woman, who Betsy took to be part of a reverse joke, began to struggle. Harvey screamed, "Betsy, stop!" "What the hell is going on?" Betsy started laughing. "This time I caught you trying to make fun of me." "What other joke?" "This is my new merger manager, Amanda Briggs." "Amanda, I'm so sorry. I don't know what came over her." Amanda frowned, looking at him. "I like to think that my charges are normal people, both during working hours and during non-working hours. You can say goodbye to your new position if that's what you consider normal. I'll be in the car waiting for you to take me back to the hotel." "Amanda, please give me a chance to explain before I do anything hasty." She ran out the door. Betsy cried, sitting on the sofa. "Thank you very much, Betsy. Just when I thought our marriage was back on track, you are ruining our marriage and my job. Here it is. I'm leaving to try to keep my job. I won't go back and save my marriage." He headed towards the car. Betsy ran upstairs and fell onto the bed, sobbing. "What the hell is going on? What have I done?" About 15 minutes later, Harvey and Amanda returned to the house. He called Betsy to come downstairs. They explained to her that she was being played. Betsy grabbed onto Harvey and screamed that she was so sorry. Later, they went out for dinner and a few drinks. Amanda told how she was afraid she would get hurt, but Harvey's help with the prank was worth it. Betsy finally got to the point where she could share the laughter with the others. When Betsy and Harvey got home, she went to clean up the kitchen before going to bed. Harvey went upstairs. He immediately saw that his automatic pistol, which he kept locked, was lying on Betsy's nightstand. Upon examining the gun, he discovered that there was a bullet in the chamber, and the safety was off. His heart sank to his stomach. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.